Hello all and welcome to my page. I'm Marcus Cash. Um, Down below you will see my media handles for basically everything, YouTube, Instagram, you name it. I appreciate you stopping by the channel. Before I get into my rant of this episode, be sure to click the bell, like, share, subscribe, comment away, and share with any and all. I do appreciate your time and thank you in advance. Welcome back to my page, everybody. Thanks for stopping by again. I'm Marcus Cash. Yes, I shave, and this is the 7th edition of Bruce Prichard's Monday Night Raw. This being for July 27th, 2020. Now, the show opens up with the hottest superstar in all of professional wrestling at the moment, Randy Orton.
But Rock and Austin can't hold a candle to my resume, to my longevity, my consistency, to my accomplishments, my accolades, and my title reigns.
He pretty much lays out the timeline of being a legend killer, taking out Edge, Christian, and the Big Show. There's not really any legends left, so he's going to shift his focus to the WWE title. He's calling out Drew McIntyre. He wants a title shot at SummerSlam. I'm here for that. Like I said, Randy Orton has been red hot as of late for the past several months. And let's be honest with ourselves, as much as we all wanted Drew McIntyre to win the belts, as happy as we are for him, as deserving as he is to be a world champion, his title reign has been rather lackluster.
It's so sad. It's very sad.
Granted, facing Dolph Ziggler a couple times, and the Big Show in his first title defense, and just the mishandling altogether of his title reign probably doesn't help. We can argue it's not really his fault, but it's been kind of as it is, and I can foresee Randy Orton taking that title and being champ again. Normally not something I'd like to hear. Normally not something I would be proud of saying, but if we're having this Randy Orton, I think I might be on board with that. Nonetheless, though, he walks out, and immediately, as he's walking out comes Nia Jax, and they even cross paths a little bit, which is interesting because they did have that moment in the Royal Rumble where Randy Orton gave Nia Jax an RKO. Considering how Nia Jax hurts anyone she comes within 6 feet of, you get a little concerned that she's going to injure Randy Orton, but they ignore each other. She comes out to the ring. I guess Randy Orton's speech inspires her. So she declares that she wants a shot at the Raw Women's title. Charlotte Flair's not here to butt in and jump the line anymore. And regardless of whether it's Asuka or Sasha Banks, she wants a shot at the belts, which she's interrupted by Shayna Baszler, who should have the belt altogether, quite frankly. But Shayna declares that nobody cares what Nia wants. Shayna is the dose of reality.
A hard dose of reality.
And she's going to be the one to go after the women's title for Raw. So they get into a little bit of a skirmish. There's some punches thrown and some shoves, and it's kind of weird because they're both heels. So you'd imagine that they're going to have a match, but who's going to be the face that they're going to have interjected? They don't really do heel versus heel matches, as they shouldn't. They do face versus face matches, which is weird, but at least that one can kind of make sense to some extent. A heel versus heel match, Shayna and Nia, when neither one of them should, quite frankly, ever be a face, it's kind of weird. But we don't really get a resolution. They kind of break it up. Nia assaults a WWE official, and you'd assume that Nia's going to get suspended, but she's not. But we'll touch on that later. So after the fight, it cuts to a commercial. We come back. We have the Raw Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits, who've been on and off television as of late, despite being the champs. But they're out in the ring, and they're going to introduce the 3 tag teams that are going to compete in a number 1 contenders match for those Raw Tag Team Championships. I guess they're content being on Raw, they're content being champions, and their lifelong dream was to ring announce. I guess. Doesn't really make sense on paper, but I guess you wanted to add a little pizzazz to each of these 3 tag teams, so you wanted to bring them out with some sort of excitement. What I don't like about other wrestlers introducing other wrestlers and being a ring announcer is that, and the Street Profits did it too, is they try to force their way into being funny, and sometimes it works, but other times, especially if there's something of an issue between wrestler, ring announcer, and someone they're introducing, which would have been the case with Street Profits and Andrade and Angel Garza, it comes off corny and forced. Anyway, though, the 3 tag teams in question, it's going to be the Viking Raiders. It's going to be who I dubbed the Vega Boys, Andrade and Angel Garza. Angel Garza! And it's going to be Cedric Alexander and Ricochet. I have to admit, this is one of the better matches on Monday Night Raw for the year 2020. I think I would put this up there with the top 5 Raw matches of the year thus far. This was splendid across the board. All 6 of these guys can go, quite frankly, when they're not neutered with horrific storylines. These guys are all quite pleasant to watch, and they meshed very well. We even got to see if there is going to be a heel turn coming with Cedric and or Ricochet. We did get to see them working with Andrade and Angel Garza a little bit to try to double team the bigger guys in the Viking Raiders. I don't know if that's foreshadowing yet. One can hope and or imagine. Or if it's just common sense wrestling booking. These 2 guys are small little cruiserweight looking guys, and they need to team up to take care of the bigger muscly guys. And I don't want to give them that much credit, but I'm hopeful. Nonetheless, though, like I said, fantastic match. It ends with Angel Garza, and he gets the wing clipper on Cedric Alexander. He gets the pin.
I guess in this case, Eric was collateral damage. In for the wing clipper. Champions. Oh, Garza and Andrade are going to SummerSlam.
The Vega Boys are going to SummerSlam at the Performance Center, or at the beach, or on a boat. We're not sure yet, apparently, but they're going to take on the Street Profits for the Raw Tag Team titles. I'm not loving the Street Profits odds, but I'm the ever optimistic. Next up, though, like we said, Nia wasn't suspended despite putting her hands on an official, when I'm pretty sure she was already previously suspended for putting her hands on an official. But, you know, logic and continuality, I guess.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
We're going to have Nia Jax versus Shayna up next. And this caught me off guard. This was a bit different. They don't normally give us a payoff that quickly. Normally there's fisticuffs or some sort of segment between 2 superstars, and then next week we're going to have such and such versus so and so. They don't usually do the same night, which was a very nice change of pace, and even more confusing for me because, again, these are 2 heels, and they didn't even take the time to establish a face that's going to be thrown into that match as a triple threat. So we're going to get a straight up heel versus heel match versus 2 dominant women for their division. So color me intrigued. They come out to the ring. It's barely even a match. I mean, they're in the ring for like 4, maybe 5 seconds, and I'm embellishing, but slightly. They end up outside the ring, mostly jockeying with each other, you know, some body blows or whatever, but they're really just tied up for the most part, and just having like a little bit of a brawl outside of the ring. They end up both getting counted out. So the match is thrown away. It's a no contest.
Jax and Baszler continue to brawl. Clearly, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are more interested in beating each other up than they are actually winning this match. Jax shoving a WWE official into Baszler.
Officials come and try to break up the fight because the match is over and it's a double count out and they're just still going at it. So people are just interjecting themselves, trying to break it up. And, you know, they're just getting all tossed aside as well. This was a nice little melee. Obviously, it's not finished. It's obviously still unresolved. It very clearly is going to pick back up. I don't know if this is going to be next week. I don't know if they're going to put this at SummerSlam to give themselves time to interject a third person into this. No idea what the plan was. I never would have expected them to come to blows, both being heels, without a multi-person setting. So I'm very interested to see where it goes and when it goes there. So I'm going to be looking forward to that because as reckless as Nia is, she is a dominant heel as long as she can not injure Baszler or anybody else. I don't mind her as the monster heel. Shayna, I think, is splendid. So, obviously, I'm rooting for Baszler, but I do want to see that match very much so. Next up, though, we have backstage a segment with Buddy Murphy. And I'm going to keep calling him Buddy Murphy because just Murphy is stupid.
Excuse me.
We have Buddy Murphy. He's with Seth Rollins. Buddy Murphy he's a bit concerned that Dominic Mysterio is going to show up. Seth reassures him that, you know, it needs to be done. It's going to be handled. Greater good, all that jazz, right?
All that I am trying to do is lead Monday Night Raw to a brighter future.
They come out to the ring immediately after the commercial that breaks up these two parts here. They invite Dominic Mysterio, which is such a weird thing to say, Dominic Mysterio. But they invite Dominic Mysterio to the ring, and he's trying to get Dominic to understand or see the light, so to speak. But Dominic just attacks him. You know, this non-wrestler, just son of a wrestler, but non-wrestler, despite his training, just really, you know, takes down this multi-time world champion and is beating on him. And pretty much having his way until the numbers game. To me, that's offensive to Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is a star in your company. Dominic Mysterio, for all intents and purposes, is a nobody. His father's a legend, I guess, but Dominic's a nobody. And to have him from here start with this guy here, it's just, it's insulting, it's jarring, it's annoying, it's frustrating, and if I didn't do these reviews, it's something I would have walked away from the television to go do literally anything else for. Fortunately, like I said, the numbers game, Buddy Murphy and Seth Rollins get the better of Dominic. They start beating on him, but here comes Aleister Black because the Friends of Mysterio storyline is still going on. I don't understand Aleister Black's connection with Rey Mysterio, besides the fact they both got tossed from a roof and neither one died at Money in the Bank. You can appreciate him as a legend. Well, it's a weak, horrible storyline. You're supposed to be a badass. This whole caring thing is a weird juxtaposition from this evil, demonic character that you look like and are supposed to be presenting. Nonetheless, reports of Vince McMahon souring on Aleister Black looks to be more and more true every week. He comes out to the ring to make this save, again without his entrance. He still has the bad arm for when they attacked his arm, and Aleister Black gets his ass kicked as well. Seth Rollins instructs Buddy Murphy on what needs to be done. He wants Buddy Murphy to force Aleister Black's eye into the corner ring steps. Buddy Murphy is a bit put off at first until he's slapped back into reality, and Seth Rollins kind of motivates him with that slap on this being the right thing to do and what needs to be done, because Aleister Black has embarrassed Buddy Murphy and beaten him countless times. And Buddy Murphy goes through with it. He grabs Aleister Black's head and he forces his eye into the ring steps.
Murphy trying to do what Rollins has done to Rey Mysterio. Oh, God, the Rock.
I don't know if we're going to get a night patch on Aleister Black or if they're writing him off for at least a couple weeks. I feel odd to say. I hope it's the latter. I hope he is written off for a couple of weeks. Anything to get him the hell away from this storyline and to do literally anything else. Nonetheless, though, he's writhing in pain. He's on the floor. Seth Rollins goes, "Where's the kid? Get the kid." And that's right, because Dominic Mysterio is a kid who's being presented as a legitimate threat to a multi-time world champion, by the way. They go, they find Dominic, they're going to get Dominic, but Dominic has a kendo stick, and he's just laying into Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy, who both feel the need to retreat.
Kendo stick by Dominic Mysterio. Get out of this world of Seth Rollins.
Again, former Cruiserweight champion and untapped star Buddy Murphy, multi-time world champion and multi-champions in general, Seth Rollins, running off scared from Dominic Mysterio and a kendo stick. Yuck. All of it. Yuck. I don't see the point. I don't see Dominic Mysterio ever selling merch. I don't see him getting over with the crowd because he's not his father. He doesn't have a mask. He doesn't have this underdog size thing, right? He's a normal size compared to the other wrestlers. So I don't see a selling point. I see generic, bland. I want to say vanilla, but he's Spanish, so let's say dulce de leche, I guess. He's just, yeah. Like, if it wasn't for his father, he'd get the length of time that any other debuting star would get. Like Riddick Moss, for example. He'd show up, he'd be here a couple of weeks, he'd be gone. I'm venting, though. Next up here, after a commercial, we're welcome back to MVP and the Hurt Business, Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley, and they're going to host another edition of the VIP Lounge.
Welcome back to the VIP Lounge.
Now, he's inviting out Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali, A, has a match with Bobby Lashley coming up after the VIP Lounge, but B, made his return to WWE and his debut on Raw, and he defeated the Hurt Business alongside Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. Now, MVP, as per the norm lately, anyone he comes across, he wants to invite them into his ever-growing stable. He wants to invite Mustafa Ali into the Hurt Business. Now, I don't really see the fit for that in the beginning. I guess you can push a narrative that, and the announcers did do this, because Mustafa Ali beat the Hurt Business, MVP would want them all aligned. I get it. Again, it's an odd fit, but at least it makes sense on paper. Naturally, though, Mustafa Ali, he declines because he beat them, and he just would never be a part of whatever MVP is slinging, and he just has this personal opposition against MVP and everything he's saying and all of his rhetoric. So, yeah. We get a brief interjection of R-Truth as he jumps Shelton Benjamin. He's trying to get back his softcore title, Doesn't happen, fortunately. Our truth runs off. That ends the VIP segment, and we're going straight into the match of Bobby Lashley versus Mustafa Ali. Now, picture to picture, this is a very odd match. We have Bobby Lashley, which is huge and massive, and we got Mustafa Ali that is not. Pretty alright match. Throwaway match. You know, nothing major, nothing super exciting, nothing that I needed to stay glued to my television set for. Mustafa Ali is a fantastic athlete. So he hit his spots, and you know he did some moves, and he looked very good being all flippy. But fortunately, didn't last too long. He tried to do a 450 off the top, and he rolled out because he missed, and he charged at Lashley, and he got swung right into another full Nelson.
Oh, there it is! Full Nelson! Full Nelson by Lashley!
But you could call me the Can Man, because anybody can get it.
Anybody can get it. Like I said before, anybody can get it.
And that was that, because nobody gets out of Bobby Lashley's full Nelson, and nobody's not going to tap out to Bobby Lashley's full Nelson. Protected finishes, I love to see them, especially when they make sense. Whatever hype you want to give Mustafa Ali, cool. I like the guy, here for it, but ain't no way he's supposed to be beating Bobby Lashley. And I'm glad they understood that instead of trying to strap that rocket ship to Mustafa Ali, even at Bobby Lashley's expense. Next up, though, what could have been, maybe even should have been, the main event. We have Asuka.
Nobody is ready for Asuka.
Who, in for all intents and purposes, should be still the Raw Women's Champion, against Sasha Banks, who's the unofficial Raw Women's Champion, in a standard one-on-one, I guess you can call it, championship finals of a tournament rules match. And whoever is the winner is undisputedly the Raw Women's Champion. The match can end with pinfalls, submissions, countouts, disqualifications, or interference. Now, Kairi Sane and Bayley, who both came out to the ring with their respective partners, they left. They're not at ringside. This is going to be Asuka versus Sasha Banks, and I love that they didn't stick around ringside during the match. I also love the fact that we were allowed to have a really good match between Asuka and Sasha Banks. They both put on really good matches. They usually carry whoever they're in the ring with to a really good match. And together, it's magic. It's a damn fun wrestling match. Unfortunately, this is WWE, and they gave themselves an out to begin with the hokey finish possibilities of the countout, of the disqualification, of the interference, and that's going to come into play. Not to say Asuka was dominating or anything like that, because she wasn't. She had her moments, but Sasha Banks did too. But in a moment where Asuka's in slight control of the match and Sasha just looks beaten down, which is usually the case because she's so small, she just always looks beat down or hurt. Asuka's in slight control at the moment, but on the Titantron, I guess we'll still call it, we see Kairi Sane getting just flat out assaulted by Bayley. They're in the back somewhere where there's a gate, I imagine, to a vehicular entrance. But there's a gate there, and Bayley's just smashing Kairi Sane's head into this gate. And yes, this hurts, obviously. It's metal, you're getting your head smashed into it. To be in pain, obvious. To even scream out, fairly obvious. Kairi Sane didn't scream out ah or ouch or something Japanese. Instead, she screams out Asuka. She's screaming out for Asuka. She wants Asuka's help. Now, presumptuous that you're getting your ass kicked and you have some sort of wherewithal that there's still a monitor or camera, not a monitor, you still have the wherewithal to understand that there's a cameraman somewhere within your vicinity that can see you getting your ass kicked and can project your calls for help to Asuka to the ring where Asuka's in the match, right? If you're getting your ass kicked, you shouldn't have this wherewithal to understand what's going on around you. Your focus is, stop hitting me, or figure out a way to hit you back. Nonetheless, though, she calls out for Asuka blindly. Luckily, there's a transmission of this ass kicking to the ring. Luckily for Kairi Sane, super unfortunate for Asuka, because Asuka is the Empress of Tomorrow, a warrior, but also a friend. So she's going to exit the ring of this undisputed Raw Women's Championship match and run to the back on a bad leg, because Sasha Banks was putting in work on her leg. She's going to run to the back with her bad leg, and she's going to go make the save for Kairi Sane and chase off Bayley, and in the process get herself counted out so Sasha Banks can become officially the Raw Women's Champion.
Asuka's going into the back. You don't want to see it end like this. Sasha Banks has won the Raw Women's title.
And be the other double champion to Bayley's double championships of being SmackDown Women's Champion, and then them together, the Women's Tag Team Champions. The two-woman power trip storyline. Not the way I thought it was going to go. I thought Bayley was going to cost Sasha Banks this match, so they can have that resentment, so they can have that singles match between the two of them at SummerSlam that was supposed to have been taking place forever and a day ago. I don't know what the thought process is here. You essentially, while making Asuka compassionate, you also make her look like a dunce, and you kind of made her look like a chump as well.
I'm like a chump, I'm like a chump, I'm like a chump, I'm like a chump.
Asuka was in dominant control. She could have just pinned Sasha Banks or thrown an Asuka lock, considering how beat down Sasha was. Get the win, get the belt, and then run to the back. Kairi Sane's already got her ass kicked. You're not preventing an ass kicking, you're just preventing a further ass kicking. She's already hurt, she's already done. Like, it's, I don't know. You already know how conniving of a champion Sasha Banks is going to be. You know how difficult it's going to be to get another shot at the belt. I would say win the belt and then to go do what you got to do. But I don't know. I'm not there. This could have been, for the match itself, the main event. That ending, though, makes it fortunate that it wasn't the main event, because for that to be the go-home moment, woof. Next up, though, just in case you didn't have a bad taste in your mouth from that hokey finish, we have a match that made absolutely zero sense, at least to me. We have Buddy Murphy, who's going to go from disciple to trying to be a leader, and he's going to face off with Humberto Carrillo in a one-on-one match. Humberto Carrillo, who we haven't seen in also forever and a day. This whole Friends of Mysterio storyline. As you can tell, I am all the way over it. I don't understand it. Humberto makes a little more sense because of the heritage, and they're both Mexican, and Rey Mysterio is even more important to him, and his upbringing and his rise through Lucha Libre and whatever, I guess, but I just don't I just don't vibe personally with this whole I'm going to fight for the honor of this other guy who could be fighting. Or would normally be fighting. Granted, Rey Mysterio's missing an eye. So, whatever. Humberto, who hasn't been around forever, I guess they realized they had extra time, or needed something, or didn't have enough people in the arena to fill the spot, or what the hell, I don't know. But they throw Humberto Carrillo out there, and again, not really that exciting of a match. I can't really get behind Humberto in any way, shape, or form. He does really nice looking things, but there's just no personality to him whatsoever. It's frustrating to endure a match of his. Really, the only highlight was the exact end of the match. Humberto comes off the top rope for, considering he landed almost directly on his feet, I'd say, a double axe handle smash or something. I don't know what the thought process was there. Buddy Murphy met him with a knee to the face, pump knee to the face, I guess, the way Buddy Murphy does, and then right into Murphy's Law with that super dramatic pinfall that Buddy Murphy does, and he gets the win.
But now Carrillo off the top. Oh, catches Carrillo, and now Murphy. Carrillo falls subject to Murphy's Law.
And I'm here for that, because Buddy Murphy needs wins at almost any and all costs. He is someone that should be a star. Get him all the wins that he can. Like I said, Humberto Carrillo is really just nothing and a nobody. I don't think he can develop a personality. I don't think he has it in him. I don't know if a heel turn helps. I don't know if a mouthpiece helps. I don't know if it's both. But they've got to do something else, literally anything else besides, luchador pride. That's not working, particularly when you don't have fans. It's just there's nothing to him. Keep him off of my TV or give him anything else to work with, please. But thank you for the Buddy Murphy win. Now, next up and last up, we do have our main event. We have Drew McIntyre versus Dolph Ziggler. This is a match where Dolph Ziggler has allowed Drew McIntyre to pick the stipulation. As underwhelming as Drew McIntyre's entire title reign has been, even more underwhelming is his decision making. So at the horrible show at Extreme Rules, Dolph Ziggler picked an Extreme Rules match for himself, where he gets to do anything hardcore, and Drew McIntyre had to have a normal standard rules one-on-one contest. So Drew McIntyre, ever inspired by Dolph Ziggler, this time decides that he wants an Extreme Rules match. But instead of going, first off, A, with a better stipulation, B, one that's not repeated from literally your last match together, but C, an Extreme Rules match where you would have done the same thing that Dolph Ziggler did and had Extreme Rules for yourself, but Dolph Ziggler had to have a normal contest. You made it Extreme Rules for everybody just to make it fair, and it's just so boring. It's so boring. An alright match. It had nice spots for whatever it's worth. Dolph Ziggler is like the ultimate counter guy in the WWE. Like whatever move that you want to go do, he can pull off some other move as a counter from it. With his spectacular selling, despite the fact that Dolph Ziggler's never going to win because Dolph Ziggler never wins. He at least makes his eternal losing look good every time. Happy for Drew to be the champ. Happy for Drew, to be the star that he looks like. But his tired title reign is just so underwhelming, and stipulations like this, matches like this with opponents like this, it's disappointing, really. again, probably no fault of his own, but you know, it's whatever. He gets the win. He gets the Claymore that puts Dolph Ziggler through a table, just from the sheer force of that kick. He pins him for the win.
Now grabbing for a steel toe.
And in a typical just lack of focus, I don't understand why for like 15, 20 years now, every single person has done this, and it doesn't make sense to me. He gets the win, he holds up his belt, he's facing the hard camera, and he's completely unaware or unfocused on the fact that he is the next person in a program storyline with Randy Orton.
Stupid, 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 stupid.
You never not pay attention when you're the next person in a storyline with Randy Orton. Because what happens next? The same thing that happens every single time someone's in a storyline with Randy Orton and they're not paying attention. He catches an RKO.
Oh! It's Randy Orton with an RKO!
Drew McIntyre, WWE champion, showboating to the camera, forgetting, oh, I'm in a storyline with Randy Orton and he's here. RKO for you, and justified. You deserved it, Drew. To get the win, I'd have been head on a swivel for Randy Orton showing up during the match, especially if it's going to be Extreme Rules for everybody. Head on a swivel. But you get the win, he doesn't interfere. Your head's not still on a swivel. You want to face the hard camera? Good for you, RKO. Hottest superstar in the WWE right now, Randy Orton, posing with your championship and what likely, and I'm going to say hopefully, becomes his championship at SummerSlam. As a whole, not much of a night in terms of the wrestling. I think that triple threat tag team match where Andrade and Angel Garza won and got the #1 contendership, that was definitely a match of the night. Like I said, one of the better matches of 2020 in terms of matches that happen on Monday nights. But really, besides that, just a lot of nice moments. Not so much a good wrestling show. I think the silver medal for me is the scuffle between Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. But just a lot of thumbs down on the show. So it's is what it is. I guess we'll break even. Really high highs and some pretty awful lows for my taste. I don't know. Let's curious to see where this goes in the weeks heading into SummerSlam. Curious to see where SummerSlam's going to be. These reports of them maybe stealing another AEW idea and having SummerSlam on a boat, or essentially SummerSlam presents Bash at the Beach. If they're going to do it at a beach, or maybe both. I don't know. I'm curious to see how that's going to be, and then how the rest of the card's going to shape up for that pay-per-view. I think I'm mostly cautiously concerned / intrigued about what the heck are they doing with this Sasha Banks and Bayley thing. I don't really know what to make of it, and I don't really have much of a guess on anything that's happening anymore. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Comment section below is open. Let me know what your thoughts are, how you book things, how you agreed and or disagreed with me, or really anything else that's on your mind. Anyway, I do appreciate you guys stopping by. Again, I'm Marcus Cash, and again, yeah, I shaved. This has been Bruce Prichard's Raw. I'll check you out next time.